The expansion of yourself is the key to success. When I say expansion of yourself, it means that you are stretching yourself to the point beyond which lies the reality of yours. The one that you have thought of yourself as a reality is a mirage. This mirage has come about from your perceptual knowing and understanding. And the real theme of life, what you shall be doing, where you should be headed towards, comes from that zone where the end of your perceptual understanding occurs. So the only thing that you shall understand is something that your restrictive, limited sensory perception cannot go up to. So what to do? And those who are very rigid will always have this one thing, and that is always being confined within the walls of their understanding. The walls which have been fortified by the illusionary objectivity, because you have come to the realization of few possessions which in fact form your identity. And these identification, which depends on the objective materials, are the ones who are governing your thought process, are responsible for knowing what you do know. So the only way you can actually elevate yourself from it and become more receptive to what there could be, because what there could be is something much more significant than what it has been. What it has been, if that is a thing that you would like to see in the future going forward, then you do require no improvement. But if you do think that there is a sense of resilience towards what you should be breaking off, then what you must be doing is become more open and receptive to what there could be. Because that what could be would not be what it has been in the past. So somehow it breaks you off from the pattern of the past, conditioned mindset, and pave you towards the further life which you must be headed towards anyway. So it all depends on how expanded you are. This is the reality. And if you are not expanded in your perception, then you will be rigid. You will find most people who are rigid and cannot grow out of their own cocoon of comfort are the ones who have met with many failures and have learned nothing from those failures. The failures have not strengthened the core of their existence, and the existence is grounding of all there is that you have ever known. Henceforward, you could do something much more significant. Those failures are not the problem, but what we have drawn out of those failures is indeed a big problem, because they were too rigid to make a change. So if one is restrictive in his understanding of life, understanding of what has gone wrong and what has gone right, if the mental connotation has empowered over the happenings of the past, most probably what may happen will be replica of what it has been. Therefore, there is no chance of any improvement there. Even the best of things presented would be doomed to failure. We see that a number of people with a lot of haves have actually turned their blessing into absolute misery. Now the potential is being totally diminished, plummeted over the erosion of their own self-identification, which has come from the objectivity of the accessories they have gathered in their lives. The materials that you have gathered, it doesn't mean that should dictate your life. Since we are not evolved enough not to be affected of what we have, then rules of life are to be followed. Now, there are people around the world, doesn't matter what happens to them, they are unaffected. They have reached to that level of mental acuity where they are unaffected by what they do peripherally. But mostly what happens is the common mass is affected by the peripheral realities of life. If you just are the one who can be blown away by any wind of any surface, then you are always at the mercy end of whatever you have around you. So look around you right now, what you have around you. Those are the impediments of your progress. And that's why adopting to a new life, adopting to a new thought process is not happening. It's not so easy to let them go because you have turned against yourself. Because these things have objectified you as someone to be known as this or that, and that identification you cannot let go of. As simple as that. And as long as they dictate you, rule you, govern you, you will always be wandering off to the direction that will only sap your energy. And that's why you feel vulnerable at all times. Vulnerable in a negative sense. The best vulnerability comes when you have let go of all the illusionary identification of yourself. And mostly these illusionary identification of yourself comes from the accessories of life. Don't you make your life only as a theme of collecting accessories and identification out of them? Do you think that is gonna impress other people? The loop it will create about the perceptual understanding of life will be concocted and convoluted and make your nature more confounded and complex, and will take you far away from whom you should be. If you could be detached from whatever you have, that's fine, go ahead, you could do so. But if the objects affect you and affect you to the level where your inner conscience gets altered, then you should be asking yourself where I'm headed towards. So any change will come only after letting go of the things that you have known as the reality of life. So that is the first thing. 80% of the people are governed by the surroundings. These are peripheral surfaces, ostentatious, outrageous display of what they have. This gauzy, ostentatious behavior just to garner people's attention is absolutely debilitating to the self. All right, you can have everything at the same time. The one who is grounded can have the life of greater significance without having to depend on any accessories of life.